A lot of people are very concerned and alarmed because of one of Trump's latest picks for his cabinet. But the unusual thing is, it's not the left that's upset. It's the right, it's his voters. On Truth Social, he announced that he'd picked the United States Surgeon General, Jeanette Nashewat, and you may or may not have heard of her before, but this has sent alarm bells ringing through Trump's community. 4,800 comments on Truth Social, all negative. So Dr. Jeanette Nashewat was very pro mandates, masks, vaccines, etc. during COVID. She was very outwardly spoken about this. So let's first have a look at what the Surgeon General's responsibilities include. Public health advocacy, educating the public about health issues, such as disease prevention, mental health, substance abuse, etc. Advising the government, providing expert health advice to the President, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, overseeing the US Public Health Service Commission Corps, leading a team of more than 6,000 uniformed health professionals who respond to public health emergencies, such as natural disasters or disease outbreaks, issuing reports and recommendations, publishing authoritative reports on pressing health issues, promoting public health policies, supporting initiatives and policies aimed at improving the nation's overall health and well-being. So this doesn't make me feel more confident about this. That position seems very directly related with, if there was a pandemic or anything like that coming up again. Doesn't sound like she would be a great one to have in that position. So that's me. I'm coming into that with my bias, and I do not agree with the way that COVID was handled. In my mind, COVID was one of the biggest money makers for the pharmaceutical companies that I've ever heard of, and I just am very, very skeptical about it. So this does raise concerns that he would put somebody who was so publicly advocating for things that didn't actually make sense. I'm going to show you more about the things that she said in a minute, but I just want to read his statement because I want to try to figure out what he sees in her. Dr. Nashewat is a double board certified medical doctor with an unwavering commitment to saving and treating thousands of American lives. Dr. Nashewat is a fierce advocate and strong communicator for preventive medicine and public health. She is committed to ensuring that Americans have access to affordable quality health care and believes in empowering individuals to take charge of their health to live longer, healthier lives. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she worked on the front lines in New York City, treating thousands of Americans and helped patients in the aftermath of President Donald Trump's historic Operation Warp Speed that saved hundreds of millions of lives. Her expertise and leadership have been pivotal during some of the most challenging healthcare crises of our time. Dr. Jeanette provided on-the-ground medical treatment to Americans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and the Joplin tornadoes. She is also a member of Samaritan's Purse Disaster Assistance Relief Team and has provided life-saving care during crises in Morocco, Haiti, and Poland. A proud graduate of the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, Dr. Nashewat's journey began with humble roots as one of 5 children raised by a widowed immigrant mother who worked as a nurse. Inspired by her mother's resilience and compassion, Dr. Nashewat pursued a life of service, transforming her deep-seated desire to help others into a distinguished medical career. So that wasn't very comforting. I just want to show you this doctor that I follow on YouTube, Dr. Suneel Dhand. He's amazing. I really recommend that you follow him. He was one of the only places that I could find sound information during COVID from an actual doctor. He was very rational about everything, and he's very informative, and he did not like the way that COVID was handled, and he did not like how the vaccines were pushed on people. He compiled some clips of Jeanette, so let's have a look.
Obviously, my main area of interest is health and well-being, and I've been watching very closely And I was very excited by some of President-elect Trump's picks, including RFK Jr. I think RFK Jr. is best placed to really shake things up in the world of health and medicine. Of course, he's going to face a lot of pushback from entrenched special interests. I do think he is the man who is best placed to really shake things up, and boy, does health need a big shakeup. I'm also very encouraged by some of President-elect Trump's other picks, including Dr. Marty Makary, who I've been following for some time, and I think he is an excellent choice to lead the FDA. He is far from being beholden to groupthink. He's a critical thinker, and he speaks up on important issues. I must say that I've seen Dr. Janet Nashawat occasionally over the years on Fox News. She has a spot on Fox News, and I've seen her during the pandemic, and she seemed to very much be in the camp of the more extreme measures, including mandates. So I was very surprised because this pick seemed incongruent with President-elect Trump's other picks with regards to shaking things up in the field of health and medicine. I really wanted Dr. Joseph Ladapo to be picked as a US Surgeon General. I've been following him as well for a long time. He is a man of great common sense. He's an excellent doctor. He's in shape. He works out a lot. He's always posting about healthy eating and moving more. And Governor DeSantis also recommended him to be US Surgeon General. So I was surprised because given the fact that Florida is President Trump's home state, I was surprised that that recommendation didn't hold sway. I really think Dr. Joseph Ladapo would have been superb in the position. Nevertheless, I always believe in giving people a chance. Perhaps Dr. Janet Nashawat has changed a lot of her views, and I want to share with you some of her views that she's publicly aired before, so that you can judge for yourself what she said before, and whether this is truly congruent with the direction that President Trump was otherwise taking to really shake things up and disrupt a field which really needs disrupting. So here she is on the subject of masking children.
COVID, this new Delta variant hits right before school starts, and our top priority should be getting kids back into the classroom, but doing so safely. Here's the problem. Delta is different, and that's why the American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending that if you're going to be in a classroom, in a crowded classroom, then you want to protect yourself, wear a mask. Because a lot of kids, for example, under the age of 12, they can't be vaccinated. So it's important to point out, though, masking is not the only solution. We also need to make sure that we have good ventilation, that people are washing their hands, that they're getting tested, and that all the teachers are getting vaccinated as well. But what's happening is this new Delta variant, it replicates more easily, and it's more contagious. You can have up to 1,000 times more viral particles, so kids can pick it up even though they may not have severe symptoms.
So disheartening to see our athletes or anyone in for that matter test positive, and this is because of the Delta variant. It's a lot more virulent, it's a lot more contagious, and it has made our vaccines slightly weaker. Now, our vaccines still work. They're good enough to keep you off of a ventilator and keep you from passing away from this virus, but they're not 100%. And because it's so contagious and more virulent, you carry 1,000 times the viral load of previous strains. And that's why we're seeing these further breakthrough infections. And that's why it's still so important. If you haven't yet gotten your vaccine, it's not too late. Go out and get it. Protect yourself. Wear your mask if you're not vaccinated, because we are seeing a spread not just among the unvaccinated, but also among the vaccinated.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that. And what did she think about the subject of Mr. Fauci himself, the science? Let's listen in.
Yesterday, that network, they twisted his words. He didn't absolutely say, yes, we should have done this. He said, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Of course, in any situation, if you start from negative day, a negative timing back in November, it would have been a better outcome. He was generalizing his statement, but they twisted his words. I think what he's doing is doing everything in his power to protect Americans. That's what we need.
Dear, oh dear, definitely don't agree with that. I was skeptical about Mr. Fauci right from the very start. And how about the subject of censorship? Social media censoring anybody who asks questions or raises legitimate concerns. What does she think about that?
Vaccines save lives, and I am so excited, and I thank and I commend Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for taking action, because this affects everyone. This affects our children. It affects adults.
And I want to share with you an article as well that was written by Dr. Nashawat that was published on the Fox News website. Take a look at this: the pandemic, the shots, and the future. This is our path out of the pandemic. So here we go. We have many shots in existence that treat a variety of non-life-threatening diseases, but to have this particular one by Pfizer or Moderna, mRNA, that will actually save you from dying, is a gift from God. This is our path out of the pandemic. Perhaps something to also be alarmed about is what sort of people are supporting this nomination being put forward. Look no further than Dr. Peter Hotez, who seemed thrilled in a social media post that Dr. Nashawat has been nominated to be US Surgeon General. My goodness me, Peter Hotez, second only to Mr. Fauci in terms of the strong feelings that I have towards the people who led our pandemic response.
One of the top comments: any doctor who recommends masking of children is cruel and totally incompetent in my view. So I think this speaks to where I'm coming from in this. I understand that her views may have changed since then, or she may have like other redeeming qualities, of course. But if somebody is willing to advocate for the things and couldn't see through the things that were going on during the pandemic at that time, then I would be very, very wary of her judgment, basically. There's a conversation going on in the comments thread, and this person says, yes, thank you. I voted for him, was very hopeful, very positive, but these picks are ringing alarm bells and I'm going to take that seriously. It's not good that people are confused, alarmed so soon after the election. It's exhausting and disheartening. Now, I fully understand this. I'll tell you why it brings alarm bells for me. COVID happened on Trump's watch. He was president when COVID took place and when pharmaceutical companies made billions and billions of profit off of a pandemic that did not make sense, right? So there was so much about that was iffy, right? I don't need to go over it because if you know, you know, right? For him to now be bringing someone in who was very pro all of that stuff and was pro Fauci, I just think that is a really, really alarming pick. I actually saw a comment somewhere about someone questioning if he's been kind of bought out by pharma. I can't find the comment now. That's why, for me personally, it makes me worried. Now, there are a couple of people making suggestion. I'll read you the comments. Trump puts these sorts of unsavory characters front and center to expose them, and then sits back and watches who supports them. We'll see if this nomination is a bait or an honest mistake. He did it, Gates, to see who comes out of the swamp. So there are some people who are suggesting that this is like a whole other level of mind play that Trump is doing, where he selects a candidate to then assess how people around him respond or who supports that person, and then that gives him a good idea. That way he can kind of sniff out any people that he wants to drop. Now that is, in my opinion, a reach. Is it possible? For sure. Is he a smart man? Absolutely. He's managed to become president of the United States twice. Is he capable of that kind of thinking? Maybe. But could this also be something alarming? Yeah, maybe. So it's definitely something that has set a lot of people off. And overall, I think people are wanting him to withdraw his nomination. I just want to have a look at what Megyn Kelly has to say, because I saw she posted a video last night and I haven't watched it, but she is always quite well informed on things.
Then you've got the Surgeon General, about whom I have more questions still. She's the sister-in-law of Representative Michael Walz, who's Trump's pick for NSA. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts, this guy said, take her. Not that she's going to be operating on people. She's the chief spokesperson. So her time on Fox News may have convinced Trump she can do it. She's very pro-Trump. But I don't really care about that stuff so much as I care about the fact that she loves masking. She loved the vaccine. She loved to mask the children long into the pandemic, past the point where the rest of us were saying, stop that. Right. Get your kid boosted and get your kid vaxxed. Oh, yay, your under 12 kid can get vaxxed. August of 2021, saying, wear a mask, Delta's different. June of 2021, downplaying the risk of myocarditis in kids who get the vax. October of 2021, talking about kids getting the COVID jab and how the risks are extremely low. January of 22, still promoting all the boosters and the vaccines and masks and how beneficial they are. The point is, Stu, she didn't see through any of it. Unlike people like even McCary was pro some of this stuff in the beginning, but got there at the same time she was writing op-eds, calling for more masking. He was writing them saying, no, that was bullshit. Take the masks off right now.
I think there's a distinction for Trump in particular when it comes to just the vaccines, and that I think Trump is at odds with a lot of the people in his base as to the success level of what occurred there. He doesn't talk about it all that much, but I think he's pretty proud of his record on that. And the fact that he is appointing people like RFK Jr. who are very much on the opposite side of that shows that he's willing to take other viewpoints. This one, though, doesn't seem, you kind of understand RFK. RFK did something very, very important for Donald Trump during the campaign. There's no surprise that he would be rewarded. This one, though, just does seem weird, and maybe he didn't have all the information about where she stood on a lot of these issues.
I mean, I'm not in favor of this person at all, based on what I've seen. I'm sorry.
I mean, everywhere you look, you're seeing opposition to this. It's the same in the comment section of Megyn Kelly's there. Same in Dr. Suneel Dhand's comment section, everywhere. So I personally think that this pick is not going to get through. I think that he will renounce that. But along with that, I hope that there's some form of explanation as to why he thought this was a good idea to announce. Is it that he was uninformed, or what is going on? Because it leaves people feeling doubt. It leaves people feeling unconfident. And there was a lot of confidence in him during the campaign. And I just don't think he wants to start losing that so early. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this. Do you have a different take on it, or do you think it's just a bad idea? Let me know in the comments below, and please, if you enjoyed this video, follow my channel. I post new content all the time and it really helps. Thank you.